Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wisdom Wednesday, our first Wisdom Wednesday of 2022. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So, today, for our Wisdom Wednesday, first remember our Wisdom Wednesday is where I just come on and I am talking about a spiritual concept or a spiritual tool that we can use that's based on the energies that we are currently working with for this week. And this week we're working with the energy of integration. And so that's what our topic is going to be about today. It's going to be about integration and tools that we can use to begin that process of integration. Hey Shirley, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you have questions, comments, or concerns about the topic, like if you're hearing something and you're just not quite sure about it, feel free to ask that question. If it's in regards to the topic, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring forth as much clarity as I can. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And I want to thank you all for sharing this out. I thank you so much for that support. I also thank you for the hearts and the likes. Those are much appreciated. So let's go ahead and let's start our topic. And you are going to see me looking off to the side because I have some notes, because there were some beautiful revelations that I kind of came to as I was meditating on this topic. So I'm really excited to share those with you. So what is integration? Well, integration to me, in the most basic terms I can put it, is it's where you walk your walk and talk your talk. It is where you have come to a complete understanding of a concept or a complete understanding of yourself, and you accept it fully, and you integrate that part of yourself, or you integrate that concept into your life on a daily basis. That's why integration to me is walking your walk, talking your talk. And so let's kind of take an example of this, of walking your walk, talking your talk. Let's say trusting the universe. Now that kind of gets thrown around sometimes. Oh, just trust the universe. Oh, just trust the universe. And I want to tell you a story that I read in Sonia Choquette's book. I believe it was Trust Your Vibes. I'm not 100% about that, but basically this woman would do just that. If someone came up to her and was like having a problem, she'd be like, oh, don't worry, just trust the universe. Oh, don't worry, just trust the universe. That was kind of like her catchphrase. And she wasn't really walking her talk. She was just kind of playing mouth service to it and just kind of saying it, but not really living it, not embodying it, which once again is integration, a full embodiment of the principle or the aspect coming into wholeness, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. And so one day she, I believe, got laid off from her job. And so, she did not know what to do. She didn't know how she was going to handle everything. She was maxing out credit cards just to pay bills and get food. And, then I believe, the book for her, Sonia Choquette's book, Trust Your Vibes, came. And of course, she read it. And, then she really started that process of trusting the universe, right? And so from there, she followed her intuition. She followed it to the grocery store. When she went to the grocery store, there happened to be like a colleague or a coworker there. And hello. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And so that colleague or coworker was like, oh, how are you doing? And so she was really honest with them, being like, well, I'm kind of struggling right now. And, she was honest. And then that friend said, or that coworker friend said, hey, I actually have like this, freelancer position if you're interested. And so the lady was like, oh my gosh, of course I'm interested. And it turned out, where she had plenty of money to pay her rent, pay her back rent, pay off her debt. And she got to do what she loved, which was like photojournalism, but she got to be like a photojournalist of nature. So like flying over Africa and, photographing like rhinos and stuff. So she just loved to do that. So there's that concept of trusting the universe. She was finally able to walk her talk and not just play lip service to it. So what I want you to think about right now Is there a spiritual concept that you maybe say a lot of, but don't really practice in your life? One of the reasons that people come to me when it comes to A Course in Miracles, when it comes to forgiveness, when it comes to that kind of stuff, people come to me because they can sense that I have integrated the practices of A Course in Miracles and integrated the practice of forgiveness into my everyday life. It's not just something I talk about online. It's something that I practice in my everyday life. It's not just, what is it? It's not just on every other Sunday or every other day. It's an everyday practice. Ooh, I love that one, Shirley. It is what it is. Yeah, that's definitely one that can be hijacked by the ego 100%. So I'm so glad that you said that one. It's a great one. We can actually work on that if you would be willing to, or if you wanted to. You'll be able to use the tools here to assist you in working through that one. So, we tend to, like I said, I work on it every day. It's not just, here, there. It's every single day. I'm practicing it and I'm working at it because it has become part of my daily practice. And that's why I think it's so important for everyone to have their own personal spiritual practice. If it's ACIM, if it's, if it's just daily meditation, if it's yoga, if it's Kundalini, if it's law of attraction, if it's listening to an Abraham video, like whatever it is that kind of helps you like tune in, do that. Like have that spiritual practice, make it part of your everyday, because that's what integration is. Integration is wholeness. And that's something else that I want to touch on for today. And we're not going to go into super big detail about it because there's still, for me, I still feel like there's more information coming in, but this is something I wanted to share because it was just something that kind of popped to me. So, integration, like I said, is about wholeness. And so that's what we want to bring into every aspect of our lives, that wholeness, that harmonization. We want to do our best to kind of step away from balance, because remember, at least balance to me is this and that. We don't want this and that. We want a harmonization of those two things. We want everything working together for our good, not us trying to spin one plate while the other one is, about to fall. We want all the plates spinning equally and having a wonderful time, right? And so what I want you to consider, another, I guess we could say, spiritual concept is the inner child, the inner man, the inner woman, or the masculine energy, the feminine energy, and all of that. Well, if we kind of look at that from this filter of integration, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with inner child, masculine, feminine energy, not at all. But what I want you to look at is how that is still, you're saying, okay, here's an aspect of me here. Here's an aspect of me here. Here's an aspect of me here. Instead of seeing yourself as that oneness, as that wholeness, as that unity. Like I said, if using the term inner child helps you, or masculine energy or feminine energy helps you, wonderful, fantastic, use it. But from this filter of integration, we can see how that's a further separation. So instead of saying, oh, well, my inner child is wounded, you could say, maybe instead, claiming it as yours, not claiming it as an aspect of you, but just claiming it and saying, you know what? That hurts me because I'm still living in the past, or that event is still triggering me. So that way, you're not saying, well, it's my inner child. It's this aspect of me that maybe isn't a part of me or is separate from the wholeness that I am. No, it's not separate from the wholeness that you are. It is part of the wholeness that you are. And this is just my viewpoint. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just simply the way that I kind of view things. So the masculine energy just represents the masculine aspects, which are action, leadership. Then the feminine is the nurturing and the receiving. And then the child is the innocence. Why can't we have all of those working together for our good? Why do they have to be separate aspects of ourselves? Why does it have to be the divine, here's my divine masculine. Oh, that's stepping forward. Oh, here's my divine feminine. That's stepping forward. Here's my divine child. That's stepping forward. Why not instead, you know what? I am embodying the divinity that I am. I am embodying the wholeness that I am. I am embodying my innocence, my action, my receiving, my intuition, my guidance. It's all working together for my highest and best good. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So that's just something I wanted to touch on when it came to integration and wholeness. Let's see ourselves as a whole picture instead of separate pieces and parts. Like, maybe you even want to say like part of you is, over here or over there. It's not over here or over there. You are one entity. You are oneness. And that's what integration is, coming into that wholeness. And you can even take the ego, for example. Instead of saying, be like, oh, it's my ego. Well, what we could say instead is, that's me. Like that's all it is. That's me having a reaction to something instead of putting it onto the ego and saying, well, it's the ego's fault. It's not the ego's fault. It's simply, that's all that it is. It's me having a reaction. It's me coming from fear. That's all that it is. So just something to think about, something to contemplate if you wish. And just something to think about and contemplate. So now let's kind of talk about some tools that we can use for integration. And the one I want to kind of present to you is, well, there's actually two I want to really present to you. And one I do here all the time, which is EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. And that's something that we practice here. And we will be doing like a short little script for it. But the one I want to give to you is what I like to call consciousness court. Okay? Or you can even call it like thought recording. And so how this works, we're going to take the concept of trusting the universe. And you can use this with any concept. So surely, the one that you talked about, it is what it is. That's something you can use this tool for. So we can write down, and you know me, I am a firm believer in writing things down, because once you write it down, then you can see it. And once you see it, then what you're really seeing is the frequency, because you are giving your thoughts, which are a frequency, you're giving them a form in letters or in words. So that's just the way I like to look at it. That's why I believe writing is so powerful, because you are giving form to the frequency that you're, in your head. Because sometimes if it's in our head, it's kind of in there and then it's out of there. You write it down, you can see it. You can't do anything else about it. You see it right there. So, like I said, we write down the word concept. And then whatever spiritual concept or spiritual aspect that you may be working with, you say, so we're going to use ours, trust the universe, or trusting in the universe. So that's our concept. Then we're going to go to our thoughts. What are our thoughts about it? And this is where we have to be so honest with ourselves. You may have some wonderful thoughts about it, and that's great. Write those down. But also don't be afraid to write down the contrary thoughts to it. So maybe, for example, you might be like, yeah, I want to believe that the universe has my back. Yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to do that. So kind of like that wanting. Or maybe, and then you go from there and you're like, well, I can't trust the universe. I don't know how to trust the universe. It's not safe for me to trust the universe because I tried in the past and I just, my whole life got messed up. Or maybe the universe will only fail me, and etc. so on, so on. So those are our thoughts. Now from our thoughts, we want to go down a level below that, if you will. What are the emotions that are behind some of those thoughts or behind all of those thoughts? So maybe with the first couple, it's this excitement. It's like, yeah, I want to. And maybe, that's kind of a strong one, but it's not the strongest one, because maybe the strongest ones are actually fear or anger, anxiety. Maybe you're projecting to the past. Maybe it's just a lack of trust. And then we can look at, okay, well, what are the behaviors that I am currently doing that maybe aren't in alignment with trusting the universe? So maybe you're trying to figure everything. Maybe when a situation arises, you automatically are trying to figure it all out and it just gets super complex. Then you get super stressed. Then you get super irritable. Then you're angry. And, that's it. And you're just all, fed up about it. And then we go to, okay, so what can I do? What action can I begin to take to help me to get into alignment with what I want? Oh, that's beautiful, Donna. Beautiful. And so what might we want to start doing? And it's just small little bite-sized steps. We don't want to go from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. We have to take those bite-sized steps for us. So maybe, starting to trust the universe is just starting to ask. Starting to, just ask about little things. What should I wear? Which direction should I go? Or giving the universe, just like maybe your relation, or maybe not your relationships, but something very small in your life, like maybe what you eat, or your relationship with food, or, whatever small, insignificant thing that you're just kind of like, man, I don't care about this. The universe can do whatever it wants because, it can, because I don't really care about it. And then you're going to see how that one thing just shifts, changes, and becomes like, this perfect reflection, because that's what the universe does. The universe only works in perfection. It doesn't work in 9.99999. It works at perfect 10, 100% of the time. So you'll start to see that, and then you'll maybe want to give it another aspect that you maybe care a little bit more about, and you just kind of continue that. So it's really looking at the concept and looking at the thoughts, looking at the emotions, looking at the behaviors, and then, how can I alter this? How can I get into either an emotional state, or what physical action can I take to help me with this, to help me integrate this into my daily life? Okay? So that is that consciousness court, or thought recording. So it's just something that you can do if you wish. And it's just a form to help you with this integration process, to help you kind of see where you're stuck and where, where the energy is, where the frequency, that you're currently carrying is. Because remember, what are our thoughts? Our thoughts are energy. The energy is a frequency. And when we write it down, we are giving that frequency, we're giving that energy a form in the way of words, or in the way of emotions. So we're giving it a form, instead of just, it kind of just floating up there and then coming in, coming out, and so forth and so on. So then the next thing that we can do in the form of, what is it? What was I going to, in the form of questioning is the next thing that we can do. And you all know I love my questioning. And so this can go with, once again, a thought, an emotion, a situation, a concept. So you could ask yourself the question, how is this thought / emotion / situation / concept serving me in the moment? Now, something that I really want to point out to you, 2 words, serving and moment. So we're asking, how is this serving me? So how is this helping me? If you don't want to use the word serve, that's fine. Use the word help. How is this helping me right now? Like, what is this doing for me? Is it helping me at all? And then we also are using the word the moment. We're not saying, did it help me in the past, or is it going to help me in the future? No, is it helping me right here, right now? Is it? And if it is, great, wonderful. Like, I want to continue to use it. And if it's not, then I can ask myself, well, what is this thought or emotion or concept revealing to me right now? Like, what is it revealing? Is it revealing some contrast maybe? Is it revealing some resistance? Is it revealing some hidden belief that I didn't even know that I had? Once again, we're asking these questions. Don't be afraid to be honest with yourself. I remember that, yes, I'm a very happy person. It's just kind of the person that I am. I'm a happy person. And I remember a friend of mine was like, Ron, what do you do for fun? I was like, I do readings and I help people. She's like, no, what do you do for you? And I remember I broke down crying because I really didn't know. I had no idea what I did for me. What was fun for me, it was always in service to other people, and service work to others is great and wonderful. It's a fabulous thing to do, but you can't get lost in it, which is what I was having that tendency to do. So I had to be like, Spirit. So this, that question revealed to me that I didn't know how to be happy without someone else. I was saying that all my happiness came from other people instead of realizing that my happiness comes from me. I am the source of my happiness. Everyone else just adds to it. All the items in my life, they add to it, but they do not give it to me. And that was something that was revealed to me. So yes, I'm a happy person. Yes, I have the happiness, but now I know where the happiness comes from. It doesn't come from the service work. It doesn't come from the people. It doesn't come from the items. It doesn't come from the clientele or the money or the cars or the this or the houses, whatever it may be. The happiness is always within me. Everything else adds to that happiness. That's all that it can do. It can't take away from my happiness. It can only take away my happiness if I give it permission, if I'm giving it that permission slip and saying, you know what? Yeah, because of the way I'm viewing this, you have now taken my happiness. You can't take what's intrinsic to me. Just like we can't take away the inner child, people, once again, going back to that wholeness, you can't take away your innocence. You are innocent. Your innocence is not held in your body. That's not where it's held. It's held within the purity and innocence of the divine nature that you are. It's not your body. That's not where your innocence is. So don't think that your innocence is lost. It's not. It can't be. It's intrinsic within you, just like happiness is intrinsic within you. But once again, you have to be willing to be honest with yourself about these things. Otherwise, guess what happens? Then you just keep on hiding it and hiding it and hiding it. And then it just seems to get like covered in more gunk and dirt and so forth and so on. And then it seems like it's this big tenuous process that you have to go through, which it's not. It's just we're afraid to look at what we have shoved in the corner because we're afraid of it, because we don't really understand it, which once again brings us back to the point of integration. Because what is integration? Integration is where you understand and accept and then implement in your daily life. So just a very simple process. So now what I want to get into is the EFT. So for those of you that are familiar with EFT, or those of you that aren't familiar with EFT, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, or you also may know it as tapping. And tapping is where we just kind of tap on the meridians of the body, helping us to release any built up emotional energy within those meridian points to help us kind of just acknowledge those emotions a little bit more. And once again, how are we doing that? We're doing it through a physical action and with our words. Why are we doing it with our words? We're doing it with our words because we're giving the frequency a form through the words that we're speaking. Okay? So we're just going to do a very basic one here. We can't really go into like super duper detail. I wish that we could. I wish we had time to. But unfortunately, we do not. So we're just going to do a quick tapping here. And for those of you that aren't familiar, it's totally fine. It's going to be very easy, very effortless. You just follow me and just follow the tapping points. And I will also say them out loud as we go through them. So before we do that, we're going to take this concept of trusting the universe. I want everyone to close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in. I want you to hold it. Okay, and then I just want you to let it out slowly, deeply, and completely, either through your nose or through your mouth, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And again, breathing in slowly, deeply, and completely. Holding it. And then just letting it out the mouth or the nose slowly, deeply, and completely. And again, last time, breathing in slowly, deeply, and completely. Holding it, and then letting it out the mouth or the nose slowly, deeply, and completely. Okay, so now what we're going to do is when it comes to trusting the universe, I want you to give yourself on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being like, oh my God, I totally trust the universe. Like, I know it's got my back. I don't even worry about it anymore. To 10 being, I don't trust the universe. It's going to stab me in the back. I know that it is. So 0 to 10, and just kind of put yourself on that scale. And as you're putting yourself on that scale, I want you also to be aware of where there's any tension in your body, and maybe there's not tension, maybe there's not pain, maybe you're just starting, maybe you're like me, and you're starting to feel tired for no reason. You're like, oh man, I'm starting to just feel real sleepy. That's just, once again, that's the way that we are trying to steer away from what scares us. Okay, so just pay attention, where it is in your body, or if you're just getting tired, maybe you start to get a little headache. Just be aware of it, okay? And like I said, this is going to be a general tapping. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, you can go ahead and open your eyes so you can follow along and tap with me. For those of you that are familiar, you can keep your eyes closed if you so desire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our non-dominant hand, and for me, that's my left hand. And then we're going to take our dominant hand, and we're going to do our Scout's Honor. So we're going to take our pointer finger here and our middle finger. We're going to put them together, and we're going to start just an inch below our pinky bone. Okay, right there on our non-dominant hand. And we're going to start tapping there very lightly. It doesn't have to be hard. We're just going to start tapping there. And we're going to say, there are times when I just don't trust the universe. It just doesn't feel safe. And I just can't do it. And then we're going to say, there are times that I really want to trust the universe, but I just feel like I can't trust it. That I've seen so much evidence that tells me not to. That tells me that the universe doesn't care about me. And then we're just going to say, I have a hard time trusting the universe. Okay, we're going to go to the top of the head now. For those of you that aren't familiar, all you have to do is you take your thumbs, put them in your ears. Wherever your middle fingers meet, that's where you're going to start tapping. You can tap with both hands, or you can just tap with one. It's whatever's convenient for you. And we're just going to say, I have a hard time trusting the universe to handle everything on my behalf. And we're going to come down here to what's called the third eye point, or the brow point. We're going to tap right there in between the eyebrows, and we're just going to say it again. I have a hard time trusting the universe. I have a hard time believing that it's going to handle everything for me. And then we're going to go to the side of the eyes, right there on the temples. We're just going to lightly tap there. And we're just going to say, I really want to trust the universe. I really want to hand everything over. It just doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel like I can really surrender everything. Because if I surrender, then that means I don't have control. Then we're going to go on the cheekbones right here. We're just going to say, it's really scary for me not to be in control because I'm so used to it. And then we're going to go underneath the nose, and we're just going to say, I have a hard time trusting the universe. And then we're going to go onto the chin. I have a hard time trusting the universe. And then we're going to go right here. Now, for this point, this is, on the collarbone. You can either tap both sides of the collarbone, or you can tap the middle of the collarbone. It doesn't matter which one you do. It's whatever feels comfortable for you. And we're just going to say, I really want to trust the universe, but I just don't know how. And it just feels so scary to give up control. And we're going to go over the heart. And we're just going to say, and you can use whatever it is for your higher power. So you can say source, you can say infinite intelligence, you can say divine compassion, you can say God. I have this really sad story about trusting the universe, and how it's scary, and how I just can't do it because it's not going to support me, because I always have to support myself. And then we're going to go to the other side of the chest, and we're just going to say, and I'm really tired of trying to figure everything out on my own. It's so tiring, and I'm just exhausted. And any time I seem to figure something out, 400 more problems crop up. And I'm really tired of 400 more problems. So we're going to go here to the center of the chest, and we're going to tap right there. And we're just going to say, I don't know how to trust the universe, but I am willing to start. I know I don't have to start big. I can start very small, and I'm willing to start those steps today, the next moment. I am willing. I am ready to take a break. And we're going to come back over here to our non-dominant hand, back to our pinky point, and we're going to tap right there. And we're going to say, I'm ready to trust the universe, even though I don't know how. And we're going to go back to the top of our heads. And remember, for those of you that aren't familiar, we put our thumbs in our ears. Wherever our middle fingers meet, that's where we tap. We can either tap with both hands or just with one. And we are just going to say, I'm ready to trust the universe. I'm ready to take a break from trying to handle everything on my own. And then we're going to come down here to the third eye point. We're going to tap there. And we're going to just say, I'm done trying to figure everything out. I'm willing to give over just one aspect of my life over to spirit, over to the universe, whatever you want to say, over to God, over to divine compassion, divine intelligence, whatever works for you. And then we're going to come here to the side of the eye. Even though it scares me to even give a tiny bit of my life over, I'm willing and I'm ready. And we're going to go here on the cheekbones. I am willing and I am ready. And we're going to go underneath the nose. I am willing and I am ready. And we're going to go onto the chin. I am willing and I am ready. And we're going to come here to the collarbone. And remember, you can either tap just on the center of the collarbone or you can do it on the sides of the collarbone. It doesn't matter, whatever feels convenient for you. And we're just going to lightly tap there and we're going to say, I am ready to give over one little aspect to the universe, even though it terrifies me, even though I'm scared to death to do so. I'm ready and I'm willing. And we're going to come here to the center of the chest and we're going to say, I have to remind myself that the universe is love, and love only wants the best for me. And I'm going to remind myself of that 100 times a day if I have to. The universe is love and only wants the best for me. So I can trust it. Okay, we're going to stop tapping. We're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to let it out. All right, and then you can just kind of gauge yourself again on where you're feeling. So maybe you were at a 10 and maybe now you're at an 8, or maybe you were at an 8 and now you're at a 10. If you went up, that's okay too, because it just shows that there is some more, that's some stuff, whatever that stuff may be, thoughts, beliefs, or emotions were dislodged. And now we get to work with those. And there are so many different tappers out there. You can find so many free different resources on YouTube for tapping. So that's really what today was all about. It was about realizing that integration is the process of understanding and then accepting and being able to bring that concept, that idea, that identity into your everyday life. It's not just playing lip service to it. And another great example of lip service, if we're all honest with ourselves, is gratitude. We're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. Are you really grateful? Like, are you actually feeling the emotion of gratitude, or are you just playing lip service to it? Remember, be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with anyone else, be honest with yourself so you can actually get through what you need to get through, so you can come to these understandings, so that you can fully embody whatever it is that you want to embody. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. Once again, if you're interested in learning more about me or my services, you can, of course, Or if you want to read more of my blogs and more free content like that, you can go to my website, awakeningmiracles.org, or you can go check out my YouTube channel, which is Ronald Schaefer AM. Schaefer is Schaefer AM. And you can find me on YouTube, where you can find more videos like this. You can find more free content if you would like. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.